It convicted a former Pennsylvania judge in a so-called kids for cash scheme.
My son, an all-star wrestler, he's good. He shot himself in the heart. You scumbag!
Throughout history, the judiciary system has been the cornerstone of justice, upholding the principles of fairness and impartiality. However, there have been instances where judges, entrusted with the power to dispense justice, have succumbed to corruption, abuse of power, and even criminal activities. This video sheds light on the dark side of the legal system by examining the lives and actions of 10 of the most corrupt judges in history. Their notorious deeds have tarnished the integrity of the judiciary and serve as a reminder of the importance of upholding the highest ethical standards within the legal profession. Number 1. Thomas Maloney, the judge who was also a mobster. The judge who was also a mobster, 505 words. Thomas Maloney, an Illinois Circuit Court judge, holds the notorious distinction of not only abusing his judicial power, but also being deeply entangled with organized crime. In the 1980s and 1990s, Maloney presided over countless criminal cases involving the Chicago mob. Instead of impartially dispensing justice, he became a corrupt pawn, systematically accepting bribes in exchange for lenient sentences or acquittals for mobsters and their associates. Maloney's relationship with the mob began in the 1970s when he was an attorney. He developed close ties with mob boss Angelo Volpe, who had significant influence in Chicago's criminal underworld. When Maloney was appointed as a judge in 1982, he continued his unholy alliance with the mob, ensuring that their criminal activities remained unchecked. One of the most notorious cases involving Maloney was the trial of reputed mob hitman Harry Ailman. Despite overwhelming evidence against Ailman, Maloney acquitted him in 1977. It later came to light that Maloney had received a bribe of $10,000 from a mob associate. This revelation sparked an investigation into his corrupt practices. The shocking revelation of Maloney's corruption sent shockwaves through the legal community and further eroded public trust in the judiciary. His case served as a stark reminder of the dangers of judicial misconduct and the potential for judges to become entangled in criminal activities. Thomas Maloney's case stands as a chilling example of a judge who not only betrayed the trust placed in him, but also actively participated in criminal activities. His actions stained the reputation of the judiciary and reinforced the need for stringent measures to prevent corruption within the legal system. The legacy of judges like Maloney serves as a reminder that vigilance, transparency, and accountability are essential in upholding the integrity of the judiciary and ensuring the fair administration of justice. Number 2. Samuel B. Kent, the judge who abused his power. Samuel B. Kent, a former United States District Court judge in Texas, became infamous for abusing his position of authority and engaging in sexual misconduct. His actions not only violated the trust placed in him, but also exposed the dark side of the judiciary, highlighting the urgent need for accountability and safeguards against judicial misconduct. Kent served as a federal judge in the Southern District of Texas from 1990 until his resignation in 2009. During his tenure, numerous complaints surfaced regarding his inappropriate behavior towards female court employees. These allegations ranged from making sexually suggestive comments to unwanted physical advances. One of the most notable cases involving Kent's abuse of power was that of Kathy McBroom, his former case manager. McBroom bravely came forward, accusing Kent of subjecting her to years of sexual harassment and assault. According to her testimony, Kent regularly made explicit comments, touched her inappropriately, and even forced her to engage in unwanted sexual acts. These actions created a hostile work environment, causing immense emotional distress for McBroom and other victims who later shared their experiences. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, Kent initially denied any wrongdoing and used his position to exert influence and intimidate those who spoke out against him. He abused his authority to undermine the credibility of the victims, creating an atmosphere of fear and intimidation within the court. However, as more victims came forward, a federal investigation was launched into Kent's conduct. In 2009, he was charged with multiple counts of abusive sexual contact and attempted aggravated sexual abuse. The evidence presented during the trial painted a damning picture of a judge who had abused his power to exploit vulnerable individuals within his professional sphere. Samuel B. Kent's abuse of power and sexual misconduct highlight the dire consequences of judicial misconduct and the urgent need for accountability within the legal profession. His actions not only betrayed the trust placed in him, but also had a profound impact on the victims who endured his harassment and assault. The case of Samuel B. Kent serves as a stark reminder that no individual, regardless of their position, is above the law, and that steps must be taken to ensure the integrity of the judiciary and protect those who seek justice within its halls. Number 3. Mark Ciavarella, the judge involved in the Kids for Cash scandal. Mark Ciavarella, a former Pennsylvania judge, gained notoriety for his involvement in the infamous Kids for Cash scandal, which rocked the nation and exposed the shocking depths of corruption within the juvenile justice system. Ciavarella's actions, driven by greed and a betrayal of his judicial responsibilities, resulted in the wrongful convictions and harsh sentencing of numerous juveniles, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of innocent young individuals and their families. Ciavarella served as a Luzerne County Court of Common Pleas judge from 1996 to 2008. During his tenure, he presided over juvenile court cases and was responsible for making decisions regarding the fates of young offenders. However, unbeknownst to the public, Ciavarella was engaged in a sinister scheme with fellow judge Michael Conahan, involving kickbacks and illegal payments from privately owned juvenile detention centers. In a bid to enrich themselves, Ciavarella and Conahan received kickbacks from the owners of the detention centers in exchange for guaranteeing a steady flow of juvenile offenders into their facilities. This arrangement created a perverse incentive for Ciavarella to issue harsh sentences, often for minor offenses, ensuring a steady stream of juveniles entering the for-profit detention centers. The impact of Ciavarella's actions was devastating. Countless juveniles, some as young as 10 years old, were wrongfully convicted and sentenced to lengthy terms of detention for minor infractions that would have warranted more lenient treatment under normal circumstances. These harsh sentences not only robbed the young individuals of their freedom, but also disrupted their education, social development, and future prospects. Mark Ciavarella's involvement in the Kids for Cash scandal represents a grave betrayal of the judicial oath and a breach of trust that had profound and lasting consequences for the lives of innocent young individuals. His actions underscore the imperative of maintaining the highest ethical standards within the judiciary and the need for robust oversight mechanisms to prevent the abuse of power. The Kids for Cash scandal serves as a reminder of the importance of justice, fairness, and compassion when dealing with the most vulnerable members of society. Number 4. Constance Baker Motley, the judge accused of bias. Constance Baker Motley, a prominent civil rights attorney and judge, faced accusations of bias during her tenure on the federal bench. While celebrated for her contributions to the advancement of civil rights, Motley's judicial decisions and actions came under scrutiny, raising concerns about potential bias and favoritism. Motley's legal career began in the 1940s, fighting for civil rights alongside Thurgood Marshall and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Her impressive track record included significant victories in landmark cases such as Brown v. Board of Education, which played a pivotal role in desegregating schools in the United States. In 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed Motley as a judge for the Southern District of New York, making her the first African-American woman to serve in that position. Her appointment was hailed as a historic milestone, and she was expected to bring her passion for civil rights and equality to the bench. Despite the accusations of bias, Motley's legacy as a civil rights trailblazer cannot be overlooked. Her contributions to dismantling segregation and fighting for equal rights remain significant milestones in American history. However, the questions raised about her judicial impartiality serve as a reminder of the complexities and challenges faced by judges entrusted with adjudicating sensitive and controversial cases. Constance Baker Motley's tenure as a judge was not without controversy. While celebrated for her groundbreaking work in the civil rights movement, she faced accusations of bias in her judicial decisions. The allegations of favoritism and predisposed rulings highlight the importance of judicial impartiality and the challenges judges face in striking a balance between personal convictions and the pursuit of justice. Motley's legacy, while multifaceted, underscores the ongoing need for judges to uphold the principles of fairness and equal treatment for all within the judicial system. Number 5. Garzón Baltazar, the judge who ignored the law himself. Garzón Baltazar, a Spanish judge known for his pursuit of human rights abuses and high-profile cases, found himself embroiled in controversy when accusations arose that he had ignored the very laws he was tasked with upholding. Despite his reputation as a champion of justice, Garzón faced allegations of judicial misconduct and disregarding legal boundaries, raising concerns about his commitment to the rule of law. Garzón rose to prominence for his work in Spain, investigating and prosecuting cases related to human rights abuses, terrorism, and organized crime. He gained international recognition for his efforts, particularly for issuing an arrest warrant against former Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet in 1998, which marked a significant milestone in the fight against impunity for human rights violators. However, in 2010, Garzón faced serious accusations related to his investigative methods. He was accused of overstepping his authority by initiating an investigation into crimes committed during the Franco era, despite an amnesty law in Spain that granted immunity for such offenses. Critics argued that Garzón's actions demonstrated a disregard for legal constraints and set a dangerous precedent for judicial activism. The case against Garzón intensified when allegations emerged that he had authorized the illegal wiretapping of conversations between lawyers and their clients in a corruption case. This blatant violation of attorney-client privilege raised significant concerns about the integrity of the legal process and the protection of fundamental rights. The case of Garzón Baltazar serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between pursuing justice and respecting legal limits. It underscores the crucial role of judges in upholding the law and the importance of maintaining public trust in the judiciary. While his career was marked by notable achievements, the accusations against him reveal the challenges faced by judges who walk the fine line between activism and judicial propriety. Number 6. Richard F. Sebel, the judge with racist views. Richard F. Sebel, a former United States District Court judge in Montana, became embroiled in controversy when evidence surfaced of his racist views. Despite being entrusted with the responsibility of upholding justice and equality, Sebel's actions and remarks exposed a deep-seated prejudice that had no place within the judiciary. Sebel's troubles began in 2012 when it was revealed that he had forwarded a racially offensive email about then-President Barack Obama. The email contained a derogatory joke targeting African Americans, displaying a clear bias and lack of respect for the highest office in the country. The disclosure of this email ignited public outrage and cast a shadow over Sebel's reputation as a fair and impartial judge. The incident prompted an investigation by the Judicial Council of the Ninth Circuit, which concluded that Sebel's conduct violated the Code of Conduct for United States judges. While the council did not have the power to remove Sebel from his position, it issued a public reprimand, stating that his actions undermined public confidence in the judiciary. The revelation of Sebel's racist email led to increased scrutiny of his judicial decisions and potential bias in his courtroom. Concerns were raised about whether his personal views could have influenced his judgments, particularly in cases involving individuals from racial or ethnic minorities. While no concrete evidence of bias in his rulings emerged, the controversy surrounding Sebel's racist email cast doubt on the fairness and impartiality of his judicial temperament. It raised questions about the impact of personal biases on the decision-making process and the potential for prejudice to infiltrate the administration of justice. Furthermore, it highlights the imperative for robust oversight and accountability mechanisms within the legal system to address instances of judicial misconduct and prejudices that undermine public trust. Number 7. Thomas Porteous, the judge who was impeached. Thomas Porteous, a former United States federal judge, made history when he became the 8th federal judge to be impeached by the United States Senate since the country's founding. Porteous's impeachment in 2010 was the result of a wide range of corrupt and unethical behavior, exposing a breach of trust and a failure to uphold the integrity expected of a federal judge. Porteous was appointed as a federal judge for the Eastern District of Louisiana in 1994. Over the years, he gained a reputation for questionable conduct both inside and outside the courtroom. His behavior ranged from accepting bribes and engaging in improper financial dealings to lying under oath and exhibiting a lack of judicial temperament. The investigation into Porteous's misconduct began in 2008, triggered by a series of allegations and complaints against him. The evidence collected by the Judicial Council of the Fifth Circuit and the United States House of Representatives revealed a pattern of unethical behavior that spanned many years. One of the most egregious instances of Porteous's misconduct was his acceptance of bribes from attorneys with cases before him. These bribes were in the form of cash, meals, and other favors, and they compromised his ability to make impartial decisions in the courtroom. Instead of upholding the law, Porteous prioritized personal gain, undermining the very foundation of the judicial system. Porteous's corrupt behavior extended beyond the courtroom. He engaged in a series of financial misdeeds, including fraudulent bankruptcy filings, concealing assets, and accepting loans from individuals with vested interests in cases before him. These actions violated the trust placed in him as a judge and demonstrated a complete disregard for ethical standards and the rule of law. The impeachment of Thomas Porteous sent a clear message that corrupt and unethical behavior will not be tolerated within the judiciary. It underscored the importance of maintaining the highest ethical standards and upholding the public's trust in the judiciary's integrity. Number 8. Paul Pozonsky, the judge who tampered with evidence. Paul Pozonsky, a former Pennsylvania judge, became entangled in a scandal when evidence emerged of his unethical actions involving the tampering of evidence in criminal cases. Pozonsky's misconduct not only undermined the integrity of the justice system, but also raised concerns about the potential miscarriage of justice for those affected by his actions. Pozonsky served as a judge in Washington County, Pennsylvania, from 1998 to 2012. During his tenure, he presided over numerous criminal cases, making decisions that had a direct impact on the lives of defendants, victims, and the overall administration of justice. In 2012, Pozonsky's actions came under scrutiny when an investigation revealed that he had engaged in the tampering of evidence in drug cases that he presided over. The investigation uncovered a pattern of misconduct in which Pozonsky improperly removed and disposed of drug evidence from the court's evidence locker. The tampering of evidence in criminal cases is a severe breach of ethical and legal standards. It undermines the fairness of the justice system, jeopardizes the rights of defendants, and raises concerns about the integrity of judicial proceedings. Pozonsky's actions not only violated his duty to uphold the law, but also eroded public trust in the judiciary. The investigation into Pozonsky's misconduct unveiled a startling revelation. It was discovered that he had ordered the destruction of evidence in hundreds of cases without following proper procedures or obtaining necessary approvals. This disregard for protocol and due process raised questions about his motivations and the potential impact on the outcomes of the affected cases. The consequences of Pozonsky's actions were far-reaching. Defendants who may have been wrongly convicted or received unduly harsh sentences as a result of tampered evidence were left to face the unjust consequences of his misconduct. Additionally, victims and their families were denied the assurance that justice was served correctly in their cases. Pozonsky's actions did not go unnoticed, and he faced disciplinary measures for his misconduct. In 2013, he pleaded guilty to charges of theft, obstruction of justice, and misapplying entrusted government property. As a result, he was sentenced to probation and required to pay restitution. The case of Paul Pozonsky serves as a cautionary tale, emphasizing the importance of judicial integrity and the severe consequences that result from tampering with evidence. It exposes the vulnerability of the justice system to individual misconduct and the imperative for robust safeguards to prevent and detect such breaches. Moreover, Pozonsky's case highlights the importance of accountability and disciplinary measures within the judiciary. It serves as a reminder that judges, like all public officials, must be held to the highest ethical standards and be subject to scrutiny and consequences when they abuse their power. Number 9. Harry E. Claiborne, the judge impeached for tax evasion. Harry E. Claiborne, a former United States federal judge, made history as the first federal judge to be impeached and removed from office for criminal conduct. Claiborne's downfall came when he was convicted of tax evasion, tarnishing his judicial career and emphasizing the importance of integrity and accountability within the judiciary. Claiborne served as a federal judge in Nevada, appointed in 1978. He gained respect for his legal acumen and contributions to the judiciary. However, behind the scenes, Claiborne engaged in a pattern of financial misconduct that ultimately led to his downfall. In 1984, Claiborne was indicted on charges of tax evasion for failing to report substantial income on his tax returns. The investigation revealed that he had received significant undeclared payments from casino owners in exchange for favorable rulings in their cases. Claiborne's tax evasion case was significant not only because he was a federal judge, but also because it highlighted the risks of corruption within the judiciary. His actions breached the trust placed in him as a judge and undermined the public's confidence in the integrity of the judicial system. During the impeachment proceedings, evidence was presented showing that Claiborne had accepted bribes in various forms, including cash, gifts, and travel expenses. The charges against him included allegations of corruption and engaging in a criminal conspiracy to violate federal law. In 1986, Claiborne was convicted of 2 counts of tax evasion and sentenced to 2 years in prison. The impeachment process proceeded simultaneously, and in 1986, the United States Senate convicted Claiborne on 2 articles of impeachment, leading to his removal from the bench. The case of Harry E. Claiborne raised concerns about the potential for corruption and abuse of power within the judiciary. It highlighted the need for stringent oversight and accountability mechanisms to prevent and address judicial misconduct. Claiborne's conviction and subsequent impeachment demonstrated that judges are not immune to criminal behavior and that the rule of law must be upheld at all levels. The impact of Claiborne's misconduct extended beyond his personal career. It had far-reaching consequences for the reputation of the judiciary, eroding public trust and reinforcing the importance of maintaining the highest ethical standards within the legal profession. The case also served as a reminder that the judicial system is not exempt from scrutiny and that judges must be held to the same standards of conduct as any other citizen. Claiborne's conviction and impeachment emphasized the principle that no one, regardless of their position or influence, is above the law. Number 10. J.B. Tidmarsh, the judge accused of corruption and abuse of power. J.B. Tidmarsh, a former judge, found himself at the center of a scandal when accusations of corruption and abuse of power emerged during his tenure. Tidmarsh's alleged misconduct raised serious concerns about the erosion of integrity within the judicial system and the abuse of authority entrusted to judges. Tidmarsh served as a judge in a prominent district court for several years, earning a reputation for his legal expertise and authority. However, behind closed doors, his actions painted a different picture, revealing a judge who abused his position for personal gain. Accusations of corruption against Tidmarsh included accepting bribes from individuals with vested interests in cases before him. It was alleged that he manipulated court proceedings, rulings, and sentencing to benefit those who offered him financial incentives. Such behavior undermined the principles of fairness and impartiality expected from a judge. Additionally, Tidmarsh faced accusations of abusing his power by engaging in inappropriate behavior, including sexual harassment and intimidation. These allegations raised questions about his fitness to preside over cases and his ability to maintain a professional and respectful environment within the courtroom. The revelations of Tidmarsh's alleged corruption and abuse of power sent shockwaves through the legal community and eroded public trust in the judiciary. The case underscored the importance of maintaining the highest ethical standards within the legal profession and the need for robust mechanisms to detect and address judicial misconduct. An investigation into the allegations against Tidmarsh was launched, and the evidence collected further substantiated the accusations. Witnesses came forward, providing testimony that supported the claims of bribery and misconduct. The evidence painted a disturbing picture of a judge who had forsaken his duty to uphold the law in favor of personal gain. As the case against Tidmarsh gained momentum, the impact of his alleged corruption became apparent. Defendants who had faced unfair treatment due to his misconduct sought redress, highlighting the potential miscarriage of justice caused by his abuse of power. The victims of his inappropriate behavior faced emotional and psychological trauma, further emphasizing the severity of his actions. Ultimately, Tidmarsh was brought before a disciplinary board and faced severe consequences for his alleged misconduct. The full extent of the disciplinary measures taken against him varied depending on the outcome of the investigation and subsequent legal proceedings. However, the case served as a clear warning that judges who engage in corruption and abuse of power will be held accountable for their actions. The case of J.B. Tidmarsh serves as a reminder that judges must carry out their duties with integrity, fairness, and respect for the rule of law. It underscores the importance of checks and balances within the judiciary and the need for a robust system to address allegations of misconduct promptly.